All right. Welcome to the Wild Farm Family Fun Show, episode 30. Everything on this show, we talk about farm, family, food, and most importantly, fun. If you've had a chance to catch any of our videos on YouTube or podcasts, you know we like to have a lot of fun, especially in the kitchen with Chef Nick. But most importantly, we always bring on some awesome guests from many walks of life to not only share their story, but what they're doing in the world to make an impact, and so that hopefully you can learn from it. And tonight is no different, and so we're excited to bring a new guest on in the life health coach space to help you think through maybe some things that you could do in your personal life to help make that better, and what that looks like to overcome maybe some things that you've accepted that it can be broken through. But Nick, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful, Troy. Happy, thankful Thursday to you and your family and everyone out there. It is greetings from Lexington, Kentucky. I'm just kind of a traveling chef at the moment. But, we're doing the best that we can to keep it together. And, I know it's really awesome. I think just one real quick thing that I've had a reflection on is just, I've been dealing with, just some travel recently, and it's really cool. Like things like Airbnb exist because you can, it's important for me to, like, when all of this variety is happening, is to at least have a place that I can cook a meal and like have a little bit of control over the circumstances and really kind of bring dinners together, create those opportunities for connection, because amidst all of that travel and variety, it's nice to have at least a couple things that are consistent that you would if you were back home. So it's been fun to sort of play around with looking at some things going on in Kentucky. Not a lot, not that there isn't a lot going on in Kentucky, just there's just been so much variety that I haven't really had a chance to really take a dive into what Kentucky has to offer. But anyway, that's what's happening on my end. Troy, you shared you're going to a water park this Sunday. You're going to go to a baseball game, and So what is up with you, and what other things are you doing to keep the family having fun this summer? And what's the baseball game? Are we talking Major League, Triple A? What are we talking about?
Yeah, well, first of all, you mentioned Airbnb, and it's funny that you talked about it in that fashion, because if anybody knows how Airbnb got started, like when they first pitched that they were going to start creating this model of people opening up their homes or their rentals for people to stay in, that everybody was like, it'd be crazy. Like nobody's going to do that. Like they prefer like a hotel, a lodge or whatever. And it just really took off. So there's like some cool stories about Airbnb. Even when COVID happened, they opened it up and they did like a day in the life of like celebrities or athletes, where you could spend a day with them and actually have conversations with them and everything. And that's how they like kept going when everything was shut down during COVID.
Wow. Okay.
You just mentioned it. I had to bring that up because if you just do some research on Airbnb and how they've got to where they are today, it's fascinating. But I enjoy Airbnbs too, man. But yeah, we're going to go to a minor league baseball game with a local team here. They're actually the single A team for the Detroit Tigers.
Okay.
I'm obviously a Tigers fan, being from Michigan. But so we'll go to the game, and they have a lot of fun things for the kids. So we'll go in the lawn seats. It's like Minion night. I told Kellen, I said, Kellen, you can't go unless you're dressed up as a Minion, though. And he just gave me that, that 8-year-old look. But obviously I'm messing. But yeah, we'll do that, and yeah, we're gonna try out water puck too. Just gonna have a lot of fun with the boys this weekend.
Love it.
So,
well, what is the name of the minor league team, out of curiosity?
Yeah, West Michigan Whitecaps.
Whitecaps. Okay.
Yeah, nice. And it's a lot of fun. I mean, I think the minor league teams do a good job with the atmospheres, where there's playground setting they've even built in there for kids to play, and so it's more than just baseball. And I think the kids love that. So
yeah, I think some of those minor league teams definitely do a nice job of kind of making it a little bit different kind of experience than just going to a typical major league baseball game, which is different than, the stadium's beautiful, like the game itself. And so, but that's so cool that you guys are staying active, and I love it. So should we bring on our esteemed guest for this evening?
Absolutely. So tonight we're excited to have Stanley Dietrich. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Or Dietrich. Dietrich.
Yeah.
Thank you, Stanley. And so Stanley is a certified life health coach, and often, from what I understand, works with people that have chronic pain or acceptance of chronic pain, and he helps break that through past treating just the symptoms and actually going down to the root cause and really helping them adapt to a better life. And so we're excited to kind of dig into there. I'm sure Stanley can do a better job of explaining that, but I'm super curious about this too. But Stanley, welcome to the show tonight.
Thank you, Troy. Thank you, Nick. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys.
Yes, we're so excited, and we're going to start off with something here, but before we get in, I kind of really officially kick the show off. The reason how I met Stanley was because of what Stanley is on the show to talk about, which is to help people with pain. It was back in October of 2020. I woke up and had the most excruciating pain in my back. It turned out to be, I think I called Stanley that same day, and I was on the phone with him. He was helping me with exercises to try to help alleviate that pain. And then it turned out to be a cervical disc herniation, and I've been working with Stanley for almost since October. And he has been such a major support and guide through me coming through being in the most painful place in my life to not having any symptoms reoccurring, and having the surgeons be like, we don't know what happened. So Stanley, in some ways, is a miracle worker, and we're really excited to have you on, and I'm really grateful for you, brother. So where are you calling from, and why don't you share with us a fun fact about yourself? Okay,
fun fact. Is there a height requirement on the Minion entry?
Hey, I'm all in too. Give me a Minion costume. I'll rock that out for sure.
that sounds almost better than the game. So anyway, I'm calling in from Columbia City, Indiana, and I work remotely. And Nick is one of many people that, when people are in pain, it is actually, something that gives me the opportunity to have a career. So 66% of people, that means 2 out of 3 people that are listening tonight are in pain at some level, and they've managed it. And I have this belief that I've learned that why manage the pain? Because we weren't designed to manage pain. Let's change the trajectory of life and get rid of it, eradicate it. And that's what I do. And so I don't want to get too far ahead of any questions that you have, but it's a passion of mine. I'm a multi-passionate preneur. So I'm a life coach. I'm certified a life coach, and I'm also a certified Egoscue posture alignment specialist. And I'm also a neuroencoding specialist, licensed for that. And I'm also working with products that activate the brain. So, when we understand that our brains operate so much more than we give it credit for, and that the central nervous system runs down the spine. If your spine is out of alignment, guess what? Everything else is out of alignment. And so we're looking at the body as a unit, and to discover why a person does have pain. Because pain is just the body's language. So I'll stop there and I'll let you ask.
So in the beginning, you mentioned kind of this passion for pain and everything. And so where does that come from? Like, take us on a journey on how you get to here. Like, where does it start for you, and why you like to focus on this area of help for people?
Well, growing up, I saw people in pain. mentally, physically, and spiritually. Skip ahead a few years. I was in middle school, in junior high, and I was the strategist for all the girls that had problems with their boyfriends. So I could create a outlet. Yeah. So, hey, whatever it takes to get a date, and if you can get them out of pain, guess who they're going to talk to, right? So I had more girlfriends than I had guy friends. Anyway. So skip ahead a few more years. I was picked on as a kid. So I began I hung around the karate room and I wrestled. I started wrestling in the 4th grade, and I learned how to inflict pain as well. So I stood up for other people and move that, 40 years further. That same kind of mentality there's so many people walking around with this bondage in their mind. Mm-hmm. And that's why I formalized becoming a life coach by getting certified so that I could have that, I don't know, kind of a title, but it's just a formal cap on what I do throughout life. And spiritually speaking, I was also a pastor for 14 years. I planted a couple of churches and started from ground zero. And there's so many people that have spirituality mixed up, and they think that they have to do good enough to be accepted. And when I understood the truth that really does set a person free, that's what's in the Bible for. If you know the truth will set you free. And that's physically, mentally, and spiritually. Just like Nick admitted himself into a hospital. I think it was 3:30 in the morning one night in the emergency room. And he's like, "Can you help me?" And I said, 100%, but I'm going to require you to participate. And, he was being told surgery was adamant. I mean, it was almost the only option. And I thought, I think there might be another option, but you have to be on board with it. Yes. And we began working together. And for me, lucky, COVID prevented unnecessary or unemergency surgeries from happening. And I have had several clients that were not emergency surgeries, but they were on the list. And when they got done working with me, they're no longer on that list. And like Nick will tell you, that the doctor said, "I don't know what you're doing, but you're not a candidate." That, for me, that's what life is about. That is my goal, to help someone spiritually know that they can't go too far from grace. Mentally, that there is nothing in their past that they can take into the future that is going to benefit them. So what's behind is behind, leave it there. And physically, where do you want to go, and how will you partake in getting there? If you will be a participant, I'm not going to leave you to the wayside. It's not, we're going to throw our hands up in the air after a few sessions. It is, we're not going to stop, because I'm committed to you as long as you're committed to you.
Yeah.
And that's why I do what I do, and to help people come to a place where it is not a mindset that keeps them from experiencing the abundance of life that they want to really experience. And there's no age requirement. I mean, I've worked with kids that are 5 years old, and I've worked with an 86-year-old man who had a massive stroke. He was my first client. He had a massive stroke, lost all mobility of his right side, had numbness from his hip to his ankle for 10 years prior to his stroke. After a year of therapy at the VA, they told him, "Look, you had a massive stroke. This is life. Get used to it. This is your new life." And this was a worker. I mean, we would go out and cut wood at 86 years old. So we start doing the exercises, and they're all specific. It's not one umbrella. It's specifically designed for the person, just as coaching is. You have to listen to the person, what they're saying, where they're at, what they think about where they're at, and give them a plan to get where they want to go. And this gentleman, I called him Pop. We were super, super close. And his wife, at first she's like, Stan, what are you doing? He's 86. What are you doing? And I said, if I can add one day of enjoyment to his life, then that's all worth it. 4 weeks into our exercises, he has full range of motion. He's bending over. We're out cutting trees. And I'm talking, we're doing some all day work. And we split wood 8 hours for a day. I mean, constantly. And he ended up dying a year and a half after we started our exercises. And it was 94 degrees that day, and he'd been out cutting trees that day. And he went into his garage at 5:30, and his wife went down and picked him up, and he was having a hard time breathing. And 4 hours later, he was gone. Now, a year and a half of life that he would not have had because the doctors were giving up on him, and gave him exercises that were designed for, an 87-year young gentleman that I highly respected. And, when you see somebody that will do that for what they want, don't give me an excuse. I mean, really, I can tell you story after story like that, just like Nick. I mean, he was discouraged, and I can let Nick share a little bit about that discouragement. And I just kept instilling in him that, hey, let's find out where the pain is coming from, not just where it's settling, because the site of pain is not the source. 95% of the time we have a shoulder pain. It's because our leg is rotated and our foot is everted, and we're laying on our hip, and it just shows up. It kind of travels up the body, and it shows up in our neck. I get people that tell me I got a knot in my middle of my back, and I got headaches all day long. So they rub the knot. They go to the massage therapist, and they rub the knot out, and 3 hours later, the knot's back. Why? Because something else is out. It's
yes.
Tell me what you do all day.
Yes, that's beautiful. You mentioned the brain earlier too, and that really piqued my interest because I love neuroscience. But even when they talk about how your brain maps your world, and in this concept too, where you can have somebody that is blind, but their network actually learns to use blindness to give them the other senses that they don't have. So it creates a vision or a visual for them, right? And so what I was learning about that, and then based on what you're saying too, is like, just because a particular area hurts could have to be related to something else that your body is kind of mapped out for you. And then your brain is actually helping to put attention to an area for you to focus on, but it's figuring out where that's actually truly coming from.
Yes, 100%. Our brain, it is activating our muscles. And so if it becomes fatigued by sending the signal to the one area of your body that's in pain, and actually you have pain elsewhere, your brain gets fatigued, and most people are not getting enough sleep. And so they're not able to get rid of the trash. And when you wake up with a lack of sleep too many days in a row, your brain can't send the signal, and it can't clean the body of all the junk that's in our intestines, in our blood. And then we start favoring one part of our body and we start throwing things out of alignment. And it's the position of the body that creates the condition. So it's no different than your brain. If your brain is in a position of fatigue, the rest of the body is going to have a condition of pain.
Yes. Yeah. We had Dr. Stephen Cabral on here, and he talked about 100,000 man-made chemicals that we just interact with on a daily basis, and to just not give yourself a chance. Yes. Right. I mean, if you can't, if it's something you can't control, like something that's in your water that you drink every day and you have no idea what they're treating it with, then it's on you for your best to give yourself what you can control, and sleep would be a tremendous one that you can. So absolutely makes a huge difference.
Yeah. Sleep. Yes. Sleep is huge. Stanley, I'm going to maybe transition us here just a little bit. Thank you so much for all of those, like, just wonderful insights. So I'm curious how Egoscue kind of came into your life, and how it kind of came into kind of like, in a way, how you coach, meaning that, like, you coach with the body, you coach with the brain. So how did you come into discovering Egoscue, and then when was that moment you were like, yes, like, I see how this can really be something for people, or I can really make this something of my own?
Yeah. I want to liken it to a lightning bolt coming out of heaven. And the reason I say that is because I was at a Tony Robbins conference, and, first night you walk on fire. So if you walk on fire, there's not much else you can't do, right? And then I want to say it was the second day, or maybe it was the third day. I think it was the third day that Brian Bradley from Egoscue, he's the vice president of Egoscue, and he came out and did a quick demonstration of arm circles, and you bend over, touch your toes, see how you can do where your alignment is, arm circles, elbow curls, and then we did the running man, the standing in place running, the greatest abdominal exercise in the world. And so I kind of thought this could be great for my son, who was wrestling in college, that, if I could get a book to show me a few different exercises, this would be pretty cool, because I had no idea what it was about. I didn't know it was about pain. I want to stay agile, and I want to stay fit. And my son wrestled college, went to nationals, and I was a spar partner the year before I found out about Egoscue. So we go pretty good rounds on the mat. And so then I went out to the booth, and I found out that this was about pain and how to align the body, and how muscles operate the bones, and how learning this equips people to transform their life. And I thought, it's a no-brainer for me. I want to know more about it. I wanted to become certified, and immediately I jumped into it and started going through the certification. And thank God I did not know what it all entailed, because biology and anatomy was not my strong point. Okay. I mean, I knew how to put clothes on and get my hair ready, but to talk about anatomy and know what muscles and how all that worked, the book is this thick, of the printout, and you can't print it out in advance. So you just grow into this. And then when I discovered the capacity of what it could do, especially for my friend, and then I started working with a couple other people, and I talked to people that they'd been going to the chiropractor. One guy, he was going to a chiropractor 3 times a week, and he'd been going 3 times a week every week for 2 years, and he had constant headaches. He had nausea. He was a salesman, a sales rep for an equipment company, and I was working construction. And I said, I think I've got the exact thing that you need. And he said, this is an answer to prayer. So he'd had headache for 2 years, let that sink just for a moment. Headaches, nausea, and vertigo for 2 years, 3 days a week, and then he was doing a deep tissue massage 1 day a week. So he's in a practice for 4 days a week for 2 years. And I'm blown away. I'm blown away because the money that people spend hungry to get out of pain. And in 2 weeks, we did a report, and he told me, he said, I got to tell you, my GERD is gone. And I said, your GERD is gone. You didn't tell me you had GERD. He said, yeah, I got GERD really bad, indigested horribly. And I'm thinking, okay, there's something deeper getting in alignment. When your body's in alignment, guess what happens to your organs? They get to be put back in alignment as well. When they're in alignment, you don't have GERD, you don't have other stomach issues, breathing issues, your lungs fill up, because we learn about diaphragmatic breathing, because these exercises, you still have to breathe while you're doing them. Mm-hmm. And so now you engage the entire body and you address more than just the symptom, because we don't face symptoms. We look for the cause. And so when my shoulder hurts, I look at their hips and go, your problem is from your hips. So that's what got me involved. And, anytime you get results, whether it's your favorite restaurant, your favorite car, your favorite movie, or an exercise, anytime you get results, you go, there's something to this. I want to do this again. And I'm addicted to helping people. I am addicted to it. Yeah. So bring me your pain. I tell people this. I guarantee you, we're going to get you out of pain, and you're going to transform your life.
Yeah. And so what's one thing that you could offer our audience today if they are living in pain today? What is like one thing that you could offer them just to get started? And I know one piece in there you mentioned too was like you have to be willing to participate in the action. But what's one thing that you could share to kind of get people started?
I would say mindset.
Okay.
Because if you put it in your mind that you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, then take one step towards the plan that you want more than anything else. And they can reach out to me, and I'll make sure that they're a candidate. I don't take people if I don't think they're a candidate. But I haven't found one that isn't a candidate for it.
Yes.
Does that help?
Yeah. Yeah. It sparked an interesting question I have for you. So I have my wife and I have a naturopath doctor that helped us with doula with our kids and all that. But I remember one thing she said. She said, if you ever feel like you need help, you're in pain, you don't know what's going on at any moment, she said, just walk outside barefoot and put your feet on the earth, because most times it's because we are so lost from where we truly should feel and be in this world. And that'll kind of jumpstart you towards a solution of better alignment and things like that.
Yes. Yeah, because you're absorbing the neutrons and the protons that go into the ground.
Yeah.
And so the body is disconnected when we're wearing shoes all the time.
Yes.
And and it is so true. And I tell people, do it for 20 minutes. Go out there and feel the energy shift when you take your socks off and walk.
Yeah, I was telling Kellen the other day, like I said, how often do you look up, buddy? And he's like, what are you talking about, Dad? And I said, when you walk outside and you're playing with friends, how often do you look up, like at the sky? Because it's pretty fascinating sometimes when you look at it. And I've slowly noticed like he's starting to do it more, which is great. I do it more because we're so like onto something new every single moment of our day that I think just look up, right? So I got that from what you were saying. Like I felt the emotion of just ground yourself just a little bit, just put yourself out there.
Okay, Tracy, you brought up something.
Yeah.
Looking up. Okay, so I'll give them a very, very simple exercise that they can do.
Awesome.
And everyone will love this. They are going to lay on their back and bend their knees at a 90 degrees. They're going to sit by the couch. So their feet are on the cushion, butts all the way up against. Okay, so they're 90 degrees. So feet are here. These are their shins. Bend at the knees, 90 degrees. Lay on the floor, arms out, straight out, 45 degrees, palms up. Look at the ceiling. Set a timer for 5 minutes. Don't watch TV. Don't read your Kindle. Just look up at the ceiling. And in a minute and 20, minute 30, they're going to feel their pelvic relax and weight off their spine. It's allowing gravity to neutralize the hips. If they lay there for 5 minutes minimum, they're going to get a better night's sleep because they've set their body into neutral. So do it right before you go to bed. Okay. Yes. Let's explain that one more time. Knees bent over the couch, 90 degrees, hip width apart. That means 6 inches between your knees at max. Arms out, 45 degrees, palms up, look at the ceiling, and just say you're doing therapy. If you're hey, it's your turn to do this. No, I got to do this.
That's right. Yeah. I had my yoga instructor calls legs up the disease killer. She's like, hey, you want to get rid of something, and you spend an entire week with your legs up for 10 to 20 minutes each day. So, yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Thank you for that, Stanley. And that's, I believe that's called static back. Yes. If I'm not, yeah. So I've had that in my menu numerous times, and it's fun to have that as from my personal experience. Like, it's a good time to meditate too, like to sort of substitute meditation. But it is like it's especially that static back. There's that physiological piece to, not just a mental thing with the meditation, but then physiologically your body is shifting and changing at the same time. So there's kind of this dual purpose to it. So I find that it's kind of, getting two birds with one stone in a lot of ways. So
yes.
Awesome. Well, how can our audience connect with you, Stanley? What's the best way for them to reach out to you if they have questions or if they're interested in some coaching? And
they can go to my website, which is 360lifewithoutlimits.com, and they can book a virtual coffee with me. There's no fee. It is a 30-minute conversation. I'm open for that all day long, and they can just schedule it at their convenience. They can just book it on my Calendly, and just if they want to get some information, that's really the best and easiest, the most convenient way for them, because they can look at their schedule and say, yeah, I'm available next Tuesday at this time, and he's got an appointment. Yeah, let's book it. It's a half an hour. I'm not salesy. So I'm not going to try to sell anybody anything. I just want to get to know them, know what they're doing, know what they've been told, and what they believe about what they've been told. And if they want to change that.
Oh, that's awesome. You're selling kindness and caring.
That's it.
Right?
Well, yeah. And I mean, just that I've worked with Stanley, it is, like he wasn't, obviously, like I came to him in pain, and just, it was his, I think passion for pain, right? Like not like to have me be in pain, but the passion to help me get out of pain. And it wasn't just the physical side, like what he really did, like, and I've shared with him is that even one of the most powerful things I think working with Stanley was I just remember like just how I stand like in the kitchen or as I walk, like the way I was just standing and the way I presented myself to the world just had a lot more physical, mental, and spiritual confidence because of my time in diving into Egoscue. So I'm so grateful for you, Stanley, and just yeah, like if anybody's in pain, please reach out to Stanley. I mean, there's no reason why we shouldn't. Why we should continue on that path, and it's sometimes good to try something different and to commit to something, to do something about it. I think that piece of it is also critical, is that I can do something about this. So Stanley, you helped make that available to me as well. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Stanley. We always invite our guests to stick around to see what Nick's whipping up in the kitchen. I know he's got some type of Mexican dish, I believe. I won't spoil it completely. But he has coined himself with a new name today, sounds like, from the beginning of the show. So we're not going to call him the Shirtless Chef. We're going to call him the Traveling Man Shirtless Chef. No, but thank you so much, Stanley. And please stick around if you can, and give Nick a hard time in the kitchen.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, thank you again, Stanley, so much for just dropping in your experience, your wisdom, and just your presence. You can feel it even across the virtual waves here. So one thing that I know about you, Stanley, in our time working together, is that you really like salsa. And so I was like, well, like most of the time I try to think of something that's going to complement our guest. And so I was like, I'm traveling, we're leaving tomorrow, actually later tonight, but and I was like, and I'm trying to work with what I have. And I was like, okay, tacos. So we're going to repurpose a carne asada taco. And then if I didn't have the equipment with me, but Stanley, this would be a great opportunity for you to throw some salsa on the carne asada taco. But so the reason it's a little bit different is a lot of times, like when you eat a carne asada taco from a taco truck or restaurant, they marinate the steak, beforehand, before they cook it. And then there are times, like in our day-to-day lives, like mine, where I just grill up a steak or pan sear a steak, and I have this leftover steak. And I want to just maybe spice it up just a little bit and then make some tacos. So we're going to take the steak from a cooked steak already and then transfer that into making a carne asada taco. So let's get this baby going here. So the first thing you'll want is, so what I did was I went ahead and I had a skirt steak that I had seared up, and so I diced it all up. So you take that flank steak or that sirloin steak, you'd want to dice all that up into bite-sized pieces. You're going to need some tortillas because you're going to want a nice bed. You could also do this on a salad, which would be great. You're going to need a pan to kind of saute everything up together. And then the ingredients that we're going to be cooking with, we're going to use a little bit of citrus and some orange juice, some limes. We're going to add in a little bit of a diced jalapeno, some garlic powder, and a little bit of soy sauce. Actually, tamari, but you could use soy sauce, and some olive oil. So how this is going to work here is I'm going to take a little bit of olive oil. I'm just going to dress it up. I'm going to take that orange juice. Maybe, again, I'm just going to kind of eyeball most of this. I'm just trying to get a little bit of flavor going. So I've got the orange juice, the tamari. And we'll do the limes. Stanley, what is one of your favorite things to eat salsa with, out of curiosity?
Chips.
Chips. What's your favorite brand of chip?
Tostitos.
Tostitos.
The rounds, not the bite size. The bite size is small, and they're thinner. They break up.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, what's the deal with? Okay, if they're going to make them smaller, make them the same thickness so they don't break when you're pulling up the salsa.
Yeah.
And the scoops they're just too heavy. It's like they're twice as thick, and they rip up the roof of your mouth. I think they do that so you don't eat too many.
Troy, do you have a favorite tortilla chip?
Yeah, I can think of the brand. It's called Mission. It's a Michigan brand, a northern Michigan brand, but it's thick and crispy. Like they truly did a good job, I think, of baking it, and yeah, I don't know. Something about the crunch is amazing.
Yeah, without the crunch, it loses its it's just no longer a tortilla chip.
Jalapeno that you're.
Yeah, I'm dicing up a little bit of a jalapeno. Yes, so
okay, just don't roll your eyes.
You like spicy, Stanley?
I like it. It's got to have that flavor that blends.
Yeah. So what we're doing here with the soy sauce, the acid, because actually tamari. I'm sorry, the tamari, the oil. We put some olive oil in there, and the acid. All of that's actually going to mix together with the salt, the acid. Not much sweet here, but we're going to get a little bit of evening out then when we use the tortilla. But we're really blending this nicely together. So it's not just going to be like a firebomb to your mouth. Yeah. So I'm with you. I do not like, I'm not a big fan of like spice just being like the main event. It needs to be done really well, in my opinion. So I'm with you there. So, and then, so again, just to remind everyone, so we're repurposing an old steak, not old, but like one that had already been cooked. We added some tamari or soy sauce, some orange juice, lime juice, olive oil, some diced jalapenos. You could use like chili powder, or just straight up like a hot sauce or something too. I add a little bit of garlic powder. So what's going to happen from here is I've got my burner on, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer this, and it's going to go relatively quick because I have this on a medium-high heat. So with that high heat, it's going to evaporate the liquid very quickly. So it's going to be, when you throw this on, it's going to be sort of a flash in the pan. You might want to like lean back, or, you know, that's why you might want to start working with Stanley, because I throw my back out, making a carne asada taco. But yeah, so here's what's going to, so we're just going to throw all that on. And then while that liquid is evaporating, you can kind of see that it's already starting to evaporate. Smelling really nice here. I'm going to go ahead and get a tortilla going. So what I like to do to make my tortilla, so I have a gas burner. If you don't have that, this method wouldn't work. What I would do would be take a nonstick, spray it down, and then just flip both sides. But with the gas burner, you can get a really nice tortilla for yourself, just over that nice open flame. So that's what we're going to do here. I also have a little bit of like chopped fresh cilantro that I'm going to put on top. You could also do some red onions, or we could pickle some red onions, would be wonderful here. So we're going to give that a little bit of time here. You can kind of see that some of the liquid is started to evaporate. When we dish this up, we're going to use a slotted spoon so that the liquid is not just sort of dripping onto that tortilla. And then we have a really soggy tortilla and the damn thing breaks, and it's like, this isn't a good taco. So the key to a good taco is actually 2 tortillas. I don't know if you ever seen like those classic tortillas like at a taco stand, but they always use 2 tortillas because they want to make sure that like the integrity of the corn tortilla here doesn't fall apart. So that's what we're going to do here. And then, give me 1 second here. And then what I like to do is then, like, when that one of them is done, I just throw the other one on top so that the heat kind of stays right there. We're going to cut the heat. Now we're getting a nice glaze on the meat. And again, I'm not so concerned about how, like, I know, like, if I would have cooked a steak to medium rare and then thrown this on the pan, like the carne asada, like, you're not really getting it. I'm not too concerned about the well doneness of it. I just want the flavor and I want the meat. So it's still going to be, the skirt steak has still got plenty of fat. Another thing that you could do is if you're afraid it's going to be a little dry, is to mince up some cooked garlic and add that into the taco, because bacon and tacos are really a big hit in my life.
Is it me only, Troy, or can you smell that as well?
Oh, I can. Anytime somebody says bacon, I go running.
All right, so I've got my 2 tortillas down. Okay, so what's going to happen here is I'm going to take my spoon. Yeah, that's nice there.
I have to say, Nick, I've never tried the tortilla just on an open flame like that on a fire.
Yeah, be careful. It will, if you're not careful, if I've done this a number of times where I've let the whole thing comes on fire. So it has it's the best method, yet it is also probably the most dangerous. And then your smoke alarm's going off, and then yeah. So I've had it a number of different ways here. So we'll dust it with a little cilantro. We'll add a little hot sauce because Troy loves hot sauce. This would be where I would, Stan the man could add his secret salsa here. You could also add, like I said, some diced onions, some pickled red onions, even like a sliver of avocado would be really lovely here. But I just wanted to kind of, I don't know, it's fun to, I don't know, tonight was just really about honoring Stanley's salsa addiction, and then at the same time just trying to show people like what you can do with something that for dinner or for a snack or lunch, or I would even eat this for breakfast, to be perfectly honest with you. So
yeah.
So there you have a repurposed carne asada taco with 2 corn tortillas done over an open flame, no smoke alarm going off, and no burnt tortilla. So I won tonight on the tortilla open flame battle. So boom.
Oh, yes.
Oh, and then one final thing you could do here is you would just maybe finish it off with a little bit of lemon juice on top, and voila.
Excellent.
And Nick, I know you're big into fried egg on everything. Would you plop a fried egg on there too, maybe?
Troy, that's a really you could obviously take this and have a version of huevos rancheros. So you could put a fried egg over top of this and actually maybe use a fork and knife and use that as like a breakfast take on huevos rancheros here. So I love the idea. I would definitely do this. That just came to me. So yeah, fried egg on top would be fantastic over this.
Excellent.
Yeah, I like the citrus in the meat.
Yes.
Yeah, I've not done that.
The citrus in the meat's where it's at. That's really going to help bring out the brightness of the meat. It's going to help really bring out the freshness that you would want when you eat a taco. And the cilantro on top, if you have the taste buds for it. I know some people think it tastes like soap. I think cilantro tastes like the grass of God. So.
Nice.
Nice.
Sort of put that way, but that sounds awesome.
Well, thanks as always.
That's a good takeaway, though. I like that one.
We'll put that as a tagline for the headline of the show. I love it, man. All right. Well, thanks. Awesome, Nick. As always, that was amazing. Looks amazing. If you are curious to check out any more of Nick's work, he's got an amazing conglomerate of videos about him cooking in the kitchen on his channel on Wild Joy. So if you just search YouTube for Wild Joy, and that's WYLDJOY, you'll see a lot of tips and recipes on there. And then you can also check out his website. He has a lot of awesome stuff on there and some course programs at wildjoy.com. And also, again, you can check out Stanley's work at 360lifewithoutlimits.com. I'd encourage you to do that, especially if you're just looking for a conversation on getting started. He's definitely there to listen and offer up his caring and kindness and passion into helping you get through pain. So encourage you to do that. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. This was episode 30. Again, the Wild Farm Family Show is all about farm, food, family, and most importantly, fun. And don't forget, I'm still going to call out Nick about his ripstick in the kitchen. That will be coming soon. And he better protect his back, otherwise Stanley will be getting on him. But thank you to everybody, and we will hopefully see you next week.
Beautiful. Thank you again, Stanley.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.